Mukunda and I are starting a live video. Mukund, it's Trail Talk with Mahanraj, Kaur, and Mukunda. Yay! All right, let's get on this trail. Let me cut her loose really quick. Hang on. Hang on a minute. All right, there you go. So, compassion and healing is what's, this amazing journey with the Venus retrograde is really asking us for. Can we be understanding to ourselves, right? Jeannie, I love you. Good to see you. Mukund and I are on the trail. So I was, really breathing into so much that's going on right now in the world, and there's so much conflict. And I just want us all to breathe into our own power and our own meaning and our own ability to heal ourselves, and in that healing be assistance to the world. When you think about the left, the right, the politics, all of that's always been really kind of volatile, and it feels really volatile right now. But back when you think of Martin Luther King, he was just somebody. He wasn't a politician. He wasn't a this or that. He was somebody who cared, and he rose up. And I think that in this Venus retrograde, it's like, where do you have the energy, the knowledge, and the healing ability to help and to rise up? Good morning, Sonia. Mwah. Good to see you. We are being asked to rise up. And, when the Venus Scorpio energy, then that's when the goddess goes into the underground, right? And there's a whole story about that with Venus, and she's represented as Inona, and she goes down to rescue Dimitri into the dark world and basically puts him back together and brings him up. So listen to that. What we're talking about is the divine feminine going into the dark, going into the places that are kind of scary, and putting the masculine back together again. And then both of them coming out together. And so that's really what's on call right now. I think we're about 8 days. I'm sorry, I'm walking through these rocks. 8 days into the Venus retrograde. And it's really asking you, in your own male dynamic energy, where do you need to be put back together, right? And where do you need to be more assertive and kind of be the leadership of healing? That's really what's being called upon us, to not shrink away from our calling right now, right? And so I'm going to tell you a little story about somebody who just kept following directions. It's a story of a beautiful man from India, and he went to England to be educated in law, and he was doing great. But once he started going into the courtroom, his language barrier was making it very hard for him to be successful. So he sought out counsel, and he was assigned to this man who was going to teach him to speak better English. And how he did the better English was he was learning the Beatitudes from Jesus, which was so weird because, here he's this beautiful Hindu Indian man, and he's learning to speak English through the Beatitudes. But he's constantly in it. And not only, come on, Mukund, not only is he learning to speak good English, but blessed are the meek, for they shall conquer the earth. All these beautiful wisdoms are being embedded in him. So anyways, his English becomes very good. And he goes back to the courtroom, and he's arguing some cases, and he's pretty damn good at it, but he has this feeling in his heart, I don't want to be the defender. I want to be a mediator. Now, that's a huge cut and pay. You're still a lawyer when you're a mediator, but it's, you're basically taking people out of the courtroom, seeing if you can get them to resolve it, right, without going to court. So he starts doing that, and he's so good at it. And he is just resolving so many situations, and, they're not going into the court. They don't need to, blah, blah, blah. In the meantime, India's really going through a struggle. His family wants him to come home. It's when Britain was really trying to overtake India, and so he goes home. And he goes home, and his name is Gandhi. And after all he'd been through, he thought he was going to be this really successful, profitable lawyer. He learned to be the greatest mediator in the world. And what did he do? He peacefully mediated this struggle that his country was in. So when we're in this Venus retrograde, it's like surprises. Like, I want to be a lawyer, but end up a mediator, and now I'm Gandhi, and right? So watch your life, and if there's some twists and turns that seem like, what's going on? How did I end up here? Trust it. Trust it. It's like this 40-day cycle, because of where Scorpio is hitting with Venus and the other planets, it's touching on like 1982, 2012, like really big portals of Scorpion energy where we did big growth spurts, maybe made some weird choices, and now everything you've done, everything you've learned has come up and together. Keep doing Kundalini yoga. So whenever the goddess is in the underworld, there's like kind of a blanket of sadness. It's like the world doesn't even understand it. And, the election's going to go on when she's in the underworld. So understand people might be sad. And if they can't name it, blame it, they may, act out. And then have deep compassion for yourself, right? Because one of the greatest things is it's like, it is normal, even if you do Kundalini, and even if you have a strong faith in God, to be depressed or to have sadness. It's normal. What's weird is when we layer shame or guilt on it, like, I shouldn't feel sad because my life is so good, or I shouldn't be depressed because I'm doing this yoga, right? If we take that part out and just ride the wave, you can think of the sadness as that wave that goes deep into your subconscious, and it's wanting to reveal more to you. And if you don't be a little sad and a little more still than you want to be, you're going to miss it. And you don't want to miss it. So patience pays. Patience Pays is actually a video on YouTube by Yogi Bhajan. If you don't listen to it, try it. Just Google Patience Pays. The words in there are so supportive, so good to do after any meditation you do, to just let that wave of light come over you. Because we are going to need great patience right now. Great patience. And it is accessible, especially if we are doing our yoga. So one of the things that I think is super good, and I do this on the trail, is the 4-part breath. So I just inhale through my nose 4 times, exhale. And then I move my little fingers, sa, ta, na, ma. So I'm chanting in my mind. Satanama, Satanama. It gives me a big dose of prana. Also, I'm in nature. It changes my state. That's the biggest thing. And for a lot of you, I have so many of you that come and, you do your privates, but you don't want to do Kundalini, and it's okay. So one of the things I do for a lot of people is called the Walk to Wonder. And what you do, you simply you do this questionnaire, and I do a guided meditation for you that you can, what I really want people to do is walk in the morning to it and do the breath in the beginning, and then you kind of just keep walking, because it has a similarity to Kundalini in that you are moving the body into the light, into the greatness, right? You're not just sitting there, affirming or hoping or praying. You're moving the body, and you're being guided by your own wisdom. So if you're feeling stuck, you know, I'm happy to help you with that. Okay, here's a bunch of dogs. Hang on one second. Hey, Mukhan. Are you coming this way? Yeah. All right. So we're going to go over here just to avoid any conflict. All right. Sit. This may be a good time to end. Hi. So good to spend this time with you. I love you. Allow your feelings. Love the one you're with. It's happening perfectly. You want to say bye-bye, Mukhan? You say bye-bye? Bye-bye from Mukunda. She wants to go say hi to those doggies. I love you guys, and keep up. And don't make it wrong. If you have some waves of sadness, just remember to do also the ancestral meditation I put on a couple, probably last week, because a lot of what Venus does right now, she heals our ancestral wounds. And we're going to be in this till November 16th, so we'll keep loving each other and talking and healing. I love you. Happy Sunday.